Hi friends. Okay, so real quick, best branding tip that I could ever give you featuring Aria, who is losing my pens under the bed. Yeah. So the best branding tip that I could ever give you, best branding tip that anyone really I think could ever give you. So you're hearing so much everywhere, just be authentic, be yourself, be true to you, share what's on your heart, blah, 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 all of that stuff. And that's great. It's the truth, right? Because no one is ever gonna do your work, share your message, share your stories like you can, right? And the fact is, you are your magic. You are what is magnetic and incredible about your brand. But it can be really hard when we get caught up in the comparison and we see everyone else's brand and we see everyone else's truth and we see what appears to be working. And on top of that, when we live in a world that values doing and creating and big launches and all the money, it's so hard sometimes to figure out, like, wait a minute, who really is me? What really is me? What is my truth? What am I interested in? And so with that, this super simple exercise is going to help get you a ton of clarity on your brand, on your marketing, on the way that you should be showing up in the world and online. Now, this can be a useful tool if you're not an entrepreneur, right? It can be useful for you to show up as a freelancer, for you to figure out what projects are most in alignment with you at a corporate job, whatever it is. But specifically, this is for having a personal brand, being a freelancer. My cat, you guys can't see her because of the lighting, but she's like right back here and is like going totally nuts. What are you doing? So this is a perfect example of having a personal brand and being on brand. This little lady, if you guys follow me, she shows up in so many, whether intentionally, sometimes I reveal her intentionally, please don't jump up there, and sometimes she just shows up on her own, right? And so to me, the showing of my cats, it's not like a super calculated endeavor, but showing my cats, showing me playing with my cats reveals that a part of my personality is being really loving and playful, right? Especially a lot of the times I show them when they're either being super snuggly or being really ridiculous and playful, right? Although usually that happens around 4 o'clock in the morning and I don't think to like flip on the lights and take an Instagram story. So that is a part of my brand. And so going back to what is this exercise, right? The exercise is go ahead. I like to do a meditation first to get you really dropped in, but do a meditation, do maybe some movement, some yoga, dancing around, put on a song that you love to just get really sort of embodied and let the brain kind of take a back seat for a minute, letting your intuition, your truth, your soul speak through. And then just go ahead and write out 4 adjectives, 4 describing words that describe you as a person. And don't try to overanalyze it. Do your best not to overanalyze it. Do your best not to show up as like, well, which parts of me seem like they'll sell best? Which parts of me will people like the most, right? Just truth. 4 words, what is the best way to describe you? Now, you can also ask some people who are close to you, maybe 2 or 3 people who are really close to you, how they would describe you. Don't give them the preface of it like, it's for my brand, it's for my business, right? Just ask them, how would you describe me? What words would you use to describe me if you had to boil it down to 4 words? And then once you have those words, maybe let them sit for a little bit and then come back to them and be like, okay, wait, was this the should part of me of like, this is what I think will sell. This is how I think I should be packaged, how I should show up. Just check in, see like, is any of this not feeling super good? Yeah, she's chasing her tail. And ask yourself, is any of this not feeling super true, super good anymore? Just give it that little filter. And then once you have that list, maybe it's a list of 4, maybe it's a compilation from yourself and a few other people. If you have a coach, this is a great opportunity to use them and their expertise and how they see you and your brand, right? And then that's a great opportunity for you to go back and look at your Instagram, look at your Facebook, look at your Facebook group, look at your website, look at your offerings, look at the way that you show up online, the way that you talk about the work that you do, and ask yourself, do these match? Are my colors on my website or whatever I'm using, my colors in the photos that I'm taking, are they in alignment with who I think I really am, with who I want to be showing up as? If the answer is no, then you immediately have some action items to take, because whenever your brand is more in alignment with like what you think sells, what you think it should be, what you think the rest of the internet is doing, whenever that's happening, there's going to be a disconnect, and people, your ideal clients, are going to feel that disconnect. And your ideal clients, they're looking for you, not some watered down, different version, rose gold, stars, whatever version of you that you think is going to sell. They need you, right? And they need your guidance, they need your course, they need your package, they need whatever it is that you're putting out into the world. So if you are putting out a watered down version of what you think you should be putting out, it's not going to work. Your ideal clients aren't going to resonate with it, and everyone is going to feel that disconnect. They might not be able to put words on like what the disconnect is, but they're going to feel that disconnect. They're not going to resonate as deeply. So action item for you: track down what are those 4 big keywords that describe you, your essence. And then take a look at your brand and the way that you're showing up. If there's any mismatch, then fix that shit, because that's what you got to do. And that's the best branding tip that I can really give you. Simple way to cut down to the authentic, true you, and then to map it out into your brand. So for me, I did this exercise fairly recently, and I realized that there was a little bit of a disconnect, because I got the advice probably 2 years ago that I've just been sort of running with, and I've heard this sort of advice peppered through, that basically the advice that I've heard for way too long, that I'm too intense and that I focus too much on the shadow, on the darkness, on the depth. And while there's some truth to, like, you need both, right? The fact of the matter is I was hiding a little bit of my intensity. And when it comes down to it, one of the biggest words that is true for me, that is true to my identity, is I am intense. I am deeply intense. I'm also a ridiculously loving cat mom who's obsessed with Instagram storying her cats. That's also true. But the intensity of my life experiences is a massive part of why I'm an incredible healer, because I can hold space for people with a depth that most people can't achieve. And most people will never be able to achieve or teach themselves, no shade, but when you've experienced the depths of pain and trauma and suffering and abuse that I have, and chosen to rise above it and turn it into passion and purpose, you're able to hold space in a completely different way for people. So missing that intensity and that fire and that depth too. I'm a triple water sign, so I have massive wateriness, massive intuition, massive depth. And missing that depth was a disconnect in my brand. And so that is a part of reclaiming my brand, reclaiming my personal brand, reclaiming those parts of myself. And so that is a really easy shift for me to look at, oh wait, is my brand intense? Not really. It's a little too light, a little too fluffy. So what do? Look at what would make that intensity shine through. Did a little bit of restructuring on my website, playing with changing some colors around. Again, it's simple. I'm not a graphic design expert, but I am an intuition expert, and I can tell you how to pull your authentic self out and put it into your brand. So if you have questions, if you're feeling like I'm these 4 words, I would love for you to leave your 4 words down below in the comments anyway. And then if you're feeling like I don't know how to turn these into some branding elements, leave a comment, let me know, send me a message, and I'd be happy to workshop with you. Hope this serves you guys. Bye.